Okay, I am now out in the vicinity of, what is it, Lake Kickapoo? I've got my eldest child to help me remember little details like that. And we are now on the edge of the space fence. Now, the space fence is a very curious relic of the Cold War. This is one of three facilities that were spread across the United States. I think there's one in California or thereabouts. There's one here in Texas and one in, I think, Alabama or Georgia or someplace like that. But the space fence had these three locations. They're antennas that I think are over a mile long. So I'll show you the antenna here in a second. But these three antennas spaced across the country were designed to monitor space traffic passing over the airspace. And I think it could detect satellite activity out to, I forget how many hundreds of miles into space. But that was the role of the space fence, was to track anything passing through United States airspace or even space over our airspace. So I think this is obviously out of date now. Now it's shut down, and you can see they left the gate open. But I'm going to get some video of some of the signage, because this is all really an interesting location. And I think it's only recently, in the last maybe 10 years or so, been shuttered. I haven't checked to see exactly when. But interesting trivia, my brother found this when he was working on service calls, servicing farm equipment in this area. And he stumbled into this and looked it up to see what it was. And he called a mutual acquaintance of ours that works at NASA. And that friend got very jumpy about even discussing the role of the space fence at that particular point in time. And I think that was back in the early 2000s, like 2003, 2004, somewhere in there. So anyway, this is the space fence and the now defunct space fence. And I actually, I don't know if it's because it's the space fence or what, but we did attract the attention of the local police, stopped by and asked what I was doing out here. But other than that, there's absolutely nothing happening out here. So I'm going to take a look around, show you the space fence and this little interesting tidbit of Cold War history. Now, the space fence, I believe, has a mention in, I think it's Howard Bloom's book out there. And I'll have to look at my computer machine and see if I have already reviewed that book or not. But Howard Bloom's out there is an interesting book about the UFO phenomenon and about allegedly a secret effort to study extraterrestrial life from within the Pentagon. So anyway, warning, controlled area. It is unlawful to enter the area without permission of the installation commander. Restricted area. So yeah. So back in its day, this was definitely off limits to the little people like you and me. And of course, there's a keypad for entry. But yeah, this originally, I'm not sure which branch of the service controlled this. I want to say this would be Air Force, maybe Navy, but most likely Air Force. So there you have the space fence. As far as I can tell, this is operated by was operated by the United States Air Force. And I think this played a critical role in NORAD's capability of monitoring North American airspace. And interesting sidebar here on this, or interesting aside, my daughter, who has accompanied me on this particular road trip, she was looking on her telephone machine at searching the space fence when we were headed out this way, and she found an article of a guy out here back over just this past summer who claimed he was chased by UFOs around this area. So, you know, who knows what a person might find looking around this area. But anyway, fascinating piece of Cold War history And again, if you've read Howard Bloom's Out There, I think this plays prominently in the introduction to that book, and his talking about space material being tracked in NORAD. Now the size of the space fence is pretty impressive. You can see it goes all the way from way down there. I'll zoom in and see if it goes almost out, vanishes into the horizon over there, and then continues all the way over here. It runs south to north, and it actually goes under the freeway up there, or under the little highway country road that we're on up there. And if memory serves me right, it's basically was broadcasting like a fan-shaped signal up into the sky. If that signal was interrupted, that's what tripped the space fence or something to that effect. But I am by no means an expert on the function and workings of the space fence, but there it is.